Human mechanic gives up first-class seat to veteran dragon. Then the unbelievable happens. Eli Carter had spent the last 36 hours working on the outer engines of the transport ship, Aurora Runner. His hands were smeared with oil and grease, and every joint in his body ached. He loved his job, but sometimes the work felt endless. Every bolt, every panel, every tiny wire mattered because one mistake could mean disaster in space. Still, it paid the bills, and Eli liked being good at something. After finishing the final inspection, Eli gathered his tools and wiped his hands on a rag. The shuttle he had been fixing would be ready for the next journey, and Eli could finally take a break. He checked the scheduled board at the spaceport. The next interstellar transport to Vega Station was boarding now. Eli sighed. The flight was full as always, and first-class seats were already taken. He had a long journey ahead, but he didn't mind being in economy. It was crowded and uncomfortable, but it was a seat, and that was enough. When Eli stepped onto the ship, the first thing he noticed was the size of the cabin. The first-class section looked like a palace compared to the narrow rows of economy seats. Passengers reclined in plush chairs, sipping drinks and watching the stars outside large panoramic windows. The difference between the two sections made Eli feel small and tired. He could already feel the back of his neck stiffening from sitting in a cramped economy seat. As he walked past the first-class section, something unusual caught his eye. One of the seats was occupied by a creature unlike anything he had ever seen. At first, he thought it was a costume or some kind of hologram. But no, this was real. The creature was tall, easily 7 feet, with long, scaled limbs and wings folded behind its back. Its head was elongated, with sharp ridges and amber eyes that seemed to measure everyone who passed. Scars ran along its scales, showing signs of past battles. The alien exuded power, but also exhaustion. Eli paused for a moment, staring. Other passengers were looking too, some whispering, others trying to stay polite. The alien shifted in the seat, clearly struggling to fit. It was too big for the human-designed first-class chair. The armrests dug into its sides, and it let out a low, rumbling sigh. Eli felt a sudden pang of sympathy. He knew what it was like to be uncomfortable after long hours of work. Without thinking, Eli stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said. His voice was calm, but his heart raced. "I can take another seat. You should have this one." The alien turned its head slowly, fixing Eli with a sharp gaze. Its eyes glimmered with curiosity and caution. "You want to give me your seat?" the creature asked, its voice deep and echoing, almost musical. "Yes," Eli said, nodding. "I've been in cramped seats before. I don't need this one. You look like you could use it more than I do." A few passengers murmured, surprised by the human's offer. Some shook their heads, thinking he must be joking. Others seemed impressed by the gesture. The alien studied Eli for a long moment, and then, without a word, it slowly lowered its head in acknowledgement. Eli smiled and stepped aside. He knew this would mean squeezing into economy, but he didn't mind. He moved down the narrow aisle, careful not to bump the passengers already seated. The seats were small and rigid, and Eli felt the tiredness in his back deepen as he sat down. Still, there was a strange satisfaction in giving his comfort to someone else. The alien finally shifted in the seat, and it seemed to relax slightly. Eli watched from his row, curious about the creature. Its scales reflected the cabin lights, shimmering in gold and bronze. Its wings, folded neatly, looked like they could stretch out and fill the cabin. Eli had read about dragons in old human stories, but he never imagined one would be real or traveling on a human spaceship. Hours passed slowly. Eli tried to get comfortable in the economy section, but the seat was small and he couldn't stretch his legs properly. He closed his eyes and listened to the soft hum of the ship's engines. Occasionally, he would glance toward the first-class cabin, where the alien sat quietly, staring out at the stars. There was a calm dignity about it, despite its size and the scars that covered its body. After a while, a steward approached Eli. "Sir," she said politely, "the passenger you gave your seat to wishes to speak with you." Eli raised his eyebrows. "Me? Why?" The steward nodded toward the first-class cabin. "Please follow me." Eli hesitated for a moment, then stood and followed her. His steps were careful, and his hands itched to brush off more dust from his uniform, but he ignored it. When he reached the first-class cabin, the alien was waiting, standing now to its full height. Its presence filled the room. Eli felt a shiver run down his spine, partly from awe and partly from nerves. "I am Kael'thur," the creature said, its voice deep but surprisingly gentle. You gave me your seat. That was unexpected. Eli shrugged. It's just a seat. You've clearly had a long journey. I didn't need it. You seemed more tired than me. Kael'thur's amber eyes studied him. Few humans would act like this. Most would claim the seat without thought. Your species is different, curious, unpredictable, brave. Eli blinked. I'm just trying to be decent. I don't need praise for it. Kael'thur tilted its head as if considering the words. Decent, yes, but bravery is more than not taking a seat. It is courage, cleverness, and the willingness to act without fear. Humans seem to carry this in ways others cannot understand. I have seen warriors of many worlds. None are like your kind. Eli felt a mix of pride and embarrassment. I don't feel like a hero. I just try to do what seems right. Kael'thur's eyes softened slightly. Perhaps that is why humans survive where others fail. You act with heart and mind together. Your species is small, but you endure. That is worth noting. Eli nodded, unsure of what to say. He had never been praised like this by anyone, not even his supervisors at the spaceport. He had repaired engines that other mechanics said were impossible, but it was just work to him. Now, hearing this from a creature that had clearly seen battles across the galaxy, he felt a strange warmth in his chest. For the next hour, Eli and Kael'thur spoke quietly. The dragon-like veteran told stories of distant battles, of planets destroyed, of enemies that no human mind could fully imagine. Eli listened, fascinated. He asked questions about the alien worlds, about the technology Kael'thur's species used, and about the strange weapons he had seen in action. Kael'thur, in turn, seemed intrigued by Eli's knowledge of human machinery. You repair engines, he said. You work with tools and materials that seem primitive, yet you succeed where more advanced civilizations fail. How? Eli shrugged again. We don't always have the best tools, but we learn to make do. We figure things out. Sometimes it's not about having the best tech. It's about thinking, trying, and not giving up. Kael'thur's head lowered slightly, almost in respect. Impressive, very impressive. Perhaps your species is underestimated. Perhaps one day you will show the galaxy the truth about humans. Eli smiled faintly, thinking the idea was amusing. He was just a mechanic. He fixed things. He didn't fight in wars or lead fleets. But hearing Kael'thur's words planted a seed of curiosity. Could humans really be stronger than the galaxy expected? The ship hummed steadily as it traveled through the stars. Outside the windows, planets and asteroids glided by, silent and cold. Inside, Eli and Kael'thur continued their quiet conversation, slowly building a bond of respect. Eli realized something he hadn't thought about before. Kindness, even in a small gesture, could open doors to things he never imagined. By the time the ship reached the midpoint of its journey, Eli's tiredness had faded a little. He felt alert, alive, and strangely proud, not because of the seat, but because he had acted without fear, without hesitation, and without expectation. Kael'thur seemed to notice this as well, watching him with a calm intensity. Eli couldn't see it yet, but something was about to change. The simple act of giving up a seat had set events in motion that would ripple across stars and planets. One small decision, one act of human kindness, was about to lead to the unbelievable. And for the first time in many long hours, Eli Carter felt that perhaps his life was about to become far more interesting than he had ever imagined. The flight continued smoothly as Eli returned to his economy seat, but he could not stop thinking about Kael'thur. The dragon-like veteran had a presence that made everyone in the cabin pause. Even humans, who were used to unusual travelers, seemed to sense something extraordinary about him. Eli adjusted in his cramped seat, feeling the stiffness in his legs, but he did not mind. The conversation with Kael'thur had left a strange spark inside him, a feeling that something beyond the ordinary was about to happen. Hours passed slowly, and Eli tried to rest, closing his eyes and leaning against the thin wall of the cabin. Outside, stars streaked past like scattered diamonds, but inside, the hum of the ship was constant and comforting. He could hear the occasional chatter of passengers, the soft clink of cups, and the quiet steps of the crew. Yet his mind kept drifting back to Kael'thur. When the steward returned, she motioned for Eli again. "Sir, the passenger in first class requests your presence. Please, if you will come." Eli raised an eyebrow. He had been curious about Kael'thur's intentions before, but now he was genuinely puzzled. What could a veteran dragon-like alien want from a simple human mechanic like him? He followed the steward, walking slowly up the narrow aisle. Every step made him more aware of the difference between his life and the world Kael'thar had likely experienced. He wondered if this was another test, another moment where humans were being judged for their smallness in a galaxy full of powerful beings. When Eli entered the first-class cabin again, Kael'thar was standing near the window, his massive form almost filling the space. His wings were folded neatly, but the sheer size of him was intimidating. The scars along his scales caught the cabin lights, reflecting in golden and bronze hues. Eli felt a mixture of awe and nervousness. "I asked for you because I wish to offer something," Kael'thar said, his deep voice echoing softly. "A challenge, yes, but also an opportunity. There is a device, an artifact from a vessel destroyed long ago. It has caused frustration for my people, and no one has been able to repair it. I believe you might succeed." Eli blinked. "Repair a relic? I mean, I can fix engines, spacecraft parts, that sort of thing, but an alien artifact?" Kael'thar tilted his head, studying him carefully. "It is not merely a machine. It requires intelligence, precision, and creativity. I have observed humans in war zones and repair yards. You have a way of seeing solutions where others see only problems. That is why I ask you." Eli swallowed. The offer was tempting, but also daunting. He had repaired engines and ships for humans, but nothing compared to this. One wrong move, and the device could be damaged beyond repair, or worse. Still, he felt a rush of excitement. "I'll try," he said finally. "I can take a look at it. Maybe I can figure it out." Kael'thar's amber eyes seemed to glow with approval. "Good, come with me." The alien led Eli to a small, private cabin. Inside, the artifact rested on a pedestal. It was unlike anything Eli had ever seen. Smooth surfaces twisted into intricate shapes, with glowing lines of energy that pulsed faintly. Tiny components moved on their own, adjusting as if alive. Eli approached it cautiously, careful not to touch it until he understood its structure. "What is it for?" Eli asked, circling the device. Kael'thar shook his head. "It was part of a warship, a vessel from the Great Conflict. The exact function is unknown. Some think it is a weapon. Others believe it controls something more complex. My people have tried for decades to understand it. None have succeeded." Eli studied the object carefully. He traced the glowing lines with his fingers, noticing patterns that seemed almost like writing or a code. "It's strange," he muttered. "It's not built like anything I know." "But it's organized. There's logic here." Kael'thar stepped closer. "Yes, logic, yes, but also flexibility. That is why humans may succeed where others fail. You do not depend solely on rules. You invent, adapt, and persist." Eli nodded slowly. He had repaired old engines that others said were impossible, found shortcuts and improvised solutions when tools were missing. He was not about to underestimate this task, but he felt strangely confident. "All right," he said. "Let's see what we can do." For the next several hours, Eli worked carefully. He examined the artifact, taking it apart piece by piece. Each component was delicate, precise, and unlike anything human engineering produced. He noticed subtle flaws, tiny misalignments that no alien mechanic had corrected. Using his experience, he adjusted the pieces, reconnected energy conduits, and tested small reactions. The device hummed softly, responding to his touch. Kael'thar observed silently, his amber eyes following every movement. He had seen thousands of technicians, engineers, and mechanics attempt this task, but none had the patience and intuition that Eli showed. He could see that this human's mind worked differently. Eli did not just follow steps. He understood the relationships between parts, predicting reactions before they happened. At one point, Eli paused. Sweat ran down his face, his hands tired and stiff. The device had a strange energy flowing through it, and he had to be careful not to force anything. Kael'thar's massive hand hovered nearby, ready to assist if needed, but he never touched the artifact. He wanted Eli to succeed on his own. "This is incredible," Eli said, breathing heavily. "The way it's designed, it's like it's alive, and it's also fragile. I've never worked on anything like this." Kael'thar nodded. "It is meant to survive battles, yes, but also to challenge those who approach it. Only the clever, the persistent, will succeed." Hours turned into a long night. The stars outside the cabin drifted silently, but inside, Eli and Kael'thar were absorbed in their work. Eli began improvising small tools from objects in the cabin, adjusting the components with care. He tested reactions, reconnected energy conduits, and aligned patterns. Slowly, the device responded, pulsing with a steady light. Kael'thar's eyes glimmered with admiration. You are, unlike any human I have seen. Most would give up long ago. You persist even when the odds are impossible. That is courage, that is brilliance. Eli shook his head. I'm not special, I just try to understand. I look at problems differently, that's all. Kael'thur's expression softened. It is more than all that. You see possibilities and you act. Many beings see only limits. Humans, you see potential. That is rare in the galaxy. By the time the device was nearly functional, Eli's hands were sore and his back ached from bending over it. He wiped sweat from his forehead and took a deep breath. He had made adjustments to nearly every component, aligning them perfectly. When he activated the final sequence, the artifact hummed and glowed brightly, responding to his touch in a way that made the cabin vibrate slightly. Kael'thur let out a low, rumbling sound, almost like a growl of approval. You have done it. No one else has succeeded. Only you. Eli stepped back, astonished. He had expected partial success, maybe a small reaction, but not full functionality. I did it, he asked, barely believing his own words. Kael'thur nodded. Yes, you have repaired what my people could not. You have proven that human ingenuity, patience, and courage surpass what others believe possible. I have underestimated your species before. Never again. Eli smiled, though he was exhausted. I just fixed it, that's all. Anyone could try. Kael'thur shook his massive head. Not anyone. Many would have failed, many would have broken it. You see, humans are small and fragile, yet capable of extraordinary things. That is why you endure, that is why you survive, and that is why you inspire. For a long moment, Eli and Kael'thur simply looked at each other. The room was silent except for the soft hum of the artifact. Eli realized he had never felt such respect from another being, especially one as powerful and experienced as Kael'thur. You are remarkable, Kael'thur finally said, and I wish to offer you something, a choice. You may continue your simple life repairing ships and engines, or you may join me, travel beyond the stars, learn and see things that humans only dream of. Eli's mind raced. This was beyond anything he had imagined. He had fixed the impossible, earned the respect of a legendary warrior, and now was being offered a chance to explore the galaxy. He thought of his quiet life, of small repairs and ordinary meals. And then he thought of the stars, of distant worlds, and the adventures that awaited. For the first time, Eli felt that his life could change forever. The universe was bigger than he had ever imagined, and now it seemed to be calling him. Kael'thur looked at him, waiting. The choice is yours, but know this, those who act with courage and skill are remembered. Humans, you may be small, but you are capable of greatness. Eli nodded slowly, a smile forming on his face. All right, I'll go. I want to see what's out there. I want to learn. I want to try. Kael'thur's massive form seemed to relax, and a low rumble of satisfaction echoed through the cabin. Good. Then your journey begins now. Humans often surprise me, Eli Carter, and now you will surprise the galaxy. The stars outside the window stretched into streaks of light as the Aurora runner moved closer to Vega Station. Inside the cabin, a human and a dragon-like veteran prepared to step into a future neither could fully imagine. One act of kindness, the offer of a simple seat, had set in motion events that would ripple across the stars. And for Eli Carter, the adventure had only just begun. Eli could hardly believe what was happening. Only a few hours ago, he had been a tired mechanic on a crowded transport ship. Now he was sitting beside Kael'thur, a dragon-like veteran, preparing to leave the routine of human life behind. His mind raced with questions, but he forced himself to stay calm. Kael'thur led him to a small docking bay within the Aurora runner. At first, Eli could not understand what he was seeing. The ship was small, sleek, and clearly built for speed and precision. Its metal surface shimmered in the cabin lights, and strange symbols were etched into its hull, glowing faintly. This was no ordinary spacecraft. It was a warship, a relic of battles across the galaxy, now refitted for Kael'thur's travels. You will need to learn quickly, Kael'thur said, his amber eyes focused and sharp. Life outside human space is dangerous. There are worlds ruled by beings who think humans are weak. They are wrong, but they do not know that yet. Eli swallowed hard. I can learn. I am good with machines, and I can pick things up fast. Kael'thur's lips curled in what resembled a smile. We shall see, but this is more than fixing engines. You will need courage, speed, and creativity. Humans are clever, yes, but cleverness alone may not be enough. Eli nodded, trying not to feel intimidated. He had fixed broken engines, repaired damaged spacecraft, and solved impossible problems, but he had never faced a galaxy full of potential enemies. He took a deep breath and stepped closer to the ship. "First," Kael'thar said, "you must understand how to move and survive in space combat. There will be no warnings, no second chances. If you hesitate, you will fail." The human mechanic felt a shiver of nervous excitement. "I understand. I'll do my best." Kael'thar nodded and opened a panel in the ship's hull. Inside were controls, displays, and strange instruments that Eli had never seen before. Some seemed like advanced navigation systems, while others appeared to monitor energy flows and weapons. The alien technology was far beyond human standards, but Eli's experience gave him an edge. He reached out, touching the controls carefully, feeling the vibrations under his fingers. "It's complicated," he muttered, "but kind of like a really advanced engine. If I can understand how the parts work together, maybe I can use it." Kael'thar stepped back, observing silently. "You are human," he said. "Your species solves problems differently. You think outside limits. That is why I trust you. Now let us begin training." The next hours passed in a blur. Eli learned to navigate the ship through complex maneuvers, adjusting energy flows and steering through simulated asteroid fields. Kael'thar pushed him hard, testing his reflexes and problem-solving skills. Eli stumbled at first, making mistakes, but he adapted quickly. Each time he succeeded, Kael'thar's amber eyes glimmered with approval. "You are faster than I expected," Kael'thar said after one particularly tricky maneuver. "Your reflexes are good, your mind sharp." Humans survive because they adapt. That is rare in the galaxy. Eli smiled faintly. "I've fixed things that other people said were impossible. Maybe this is that different." Kael'thar's deep rumble of approval echoed through the ship. "You will face more than simulations. The real challenge awaits. Out there beyond human space, there are pirates, warlords, and creatures who would consider you food if they could. You must be ready." Eli swallowed hard but nodded. "I'm ready. I want to see what's out there." The next day, Kael'thar took him to a holographic map of the nearby star systems. Planets, moons, and asteroid fields filled the display. Some were marked with red symbols. "These are unstable systems," Kael'thar explained. "Civil wars, pirates, rogue fleets. We may have to pass through them. Humans underestimate danger, but you must not. Survival is skill and courage." Eli leaned closer to the hologram, tracing the paths with his finger. "So we avoid the dangerous ones or fight if necessary?" Kael'thar's eyes gleamed. "Sometimes fighting is unavoidable. Sometimes avoidance is smarter. You must judge and you must act quickly. A wrong decision can cost lives. You have already shown courage. Now you must learn strategy." Eli nodded, trying to memorize the patterns. He realized this was different from fixing an engine. Here, mistakes could mean death, but he felt ready. The thought of hiding or giving up had never crossed his mind in his human life, and it would not cross it now. After hours of study, Kael'thar spoke again. "Tomorrow, we travel to the system closest to the outer rim. There is a settlement there in need of repair crews. But be warned, they are under threat from raiders. We will see how humans act under pressure." Eli felt a mixture of excitement and fear. The stakes were higher than anything he had faced before. Yet, there was a part of him that felt alive in a way he had never known. For the first time, he realized that humans were not just small, weak creatures. They were capable of endurance, creativity, and courage beyond imagination. The next morning, the Aurora runner left human space. Stars stretched past the windows like streaks of silver. Eli sat beside Kael'thar, feeling the hum of the ship through the floor. Every system he had learned to control now seemed real, with consequences beyond theory. As they approached the first settlement, Kael'thar grew tense. "They are under attack," he said. "Pirates, they are reckless but dangerous. You must observe, learn, and if necessary, act." Eli's heart pounded. "I can handle it. I'll help them." The settlement came into view. Small buildings clustered on a rocky moon, smoke rising from damaged structures. Ships hovered above, and small explosions dotted the landscape. The pirates were fast, striking with precision and retreating quickly. The settlers were terrified, trying to protect themselves with whatever defenses they had. Kael'thar landed the ship nearby, keeping it hidden behind a rocky ridge. "You will go first," he said. "See what humans can do under pressure. Show them courage. Show them ingenuity." Eli took a deep breath and stepped out. The air was thin and the ground uneven, but he ignored it. He ran toward the settlement, analyzing the situation. Some settlers were trapped in buildings, others hiding behind crates and broken walls. The pirates moved quickly, but they were not organized for long-term control. Eli's mind raced. He noticed a broken energy generator that powered a defensive barrier. If he could fix it, even partially, it might stop the pirates long enough for the settlers to regroup. He ran to the generator, ducking behind debris, and began working. His hands moved quickly, reconnecting wires, adjusting energy conduits, and improvising repairs using whatever scraps he could find. Kael'thar watched from a distance, impressed by the human's resourcefulness. Most beings would panic, he muttered. Humans, they see opportunity where others see danger. Incredible. The generator sputtered, sparks flying, but Eli kept working. He had repaired impossible machines before, and he trusted his instincts. Slowly, the energy barrier flickered back to life. The pirates hesitated, their attacks faltering as the protective shield engaged. Eli didn't stop. He ran from one broken device to another, repairing and improvising, always moving, always thinking. The settlers started to notice, rallying behind him. Inspired by his courage and skill, they began to fight back, using makeshift weapons and whatever tools they could find. Kael'thar landed nearby and joined the fight, his massive presence intimidating the pirates. But it was Eli's quick thinking and human ingenuity that turned the tide. By the time the pirates realized what was happening, the settlers had regained control of their settlement, and the attackers retreated, leaving chaos behind. Eli stood panting, his hands and clothes covered in soot and grease. The settlers approached him, gratitude in their eyes. You saved us," one of them said. Eli shook his head. "We saved each other, you fought too." Kael'thar stepped forward, his massive form casting a shadow over Eli. "See, I told you humans are remarkable. Courage, creativity, and determination. You inspire even the most battle-hardened warriors." Eli looked up at Kael'thar, exhausted but proud. For the first time, he truly understood what Kael'thar had meant. Humans were underestimated, but when they acted together, using both mind and heart, they could accomplish the impossible. As the settlement began to recover, Eli felt a strange satisfaction. He had faced real danger far beyond the safety of a repair shop, and he had survived. More than that, he had made a difference. For the first time, he realized that humans were not weak. They were capable of extraordinary things. Kael'thar placed a massive hand on Eli's shoulder. "You have learned well, but this is only the beginning. The galaxy is full of challenges, and humans who are brave and clever will be remembered. Your journey is just starting." Eli nodded, looking at the horizon where the pirates had fled. He felt alive in a way he never had before. The stars called to him, full of danger and wonder, and he knew he would answer. And so Eli Carter, a simple human mechanic, began to step fully into the adventure of a lifetime, proving that courage, skill, and ingenuity could turn even the smallest human into a hero in the eyes of the galaxy. The Aurora runner glided through space, quiet and steady, but Eli's mind buzzed with excitement. He had survived his first real encounter outside human space and helped save a settlement from raiders. He had felt danger, fear, and adrenaline like never before. And yet, Kael'thar had told him this was only the beginning. Eli sat in the pilot's seat, hands resting on the controls, though he did not touch them yet. Kael'thar was beside him, his massive form leaning slightly to watch the instruments. The veteran dragon had said they were heading toward a sector called the Shattered Belt. Eli had no idea what to expect, only that it was dangerous and full of unknowns. "Prepare yourself," Kael'thar said. "The Shattered Belt is not like anywhere you have been. Planets and asteroids drift in strange paths. There are pirates, rogue ships, and creatures that do not think like humans. You must be ready for anything." Eli nodded, swallowing his nerves. "I understand. We can do this." Kael'thar's eyes narrowed. "We will survive if you stay sharp, human, but survival is not enough. Humans have something the galaxy often forgets. You do not see limits, only possibilities. That is why you inspire me." The human felt a thrill of pride mixed with fear. He had always been ordinary, a mechanic, nothing more. But now, Kael'thar's words reminded him that even ordinary humans could do extraordinary things. As they entered the Shattered Belt, the view outside the window became chaotic. Massive asteroids drifted lazily, some the size of small cities, others no larger than ships. Streams of debris floated through space, glowing faintly from distant starlight. Some rocks collided occasionally, sending shards spinning dangerously. Navigation here required focus, speed, and precision. Eli studied the controls. It looks impossible. How do we get through this without hitting anything? Kael'thur's wings flexed slightly. Watch carefully, learn the flow, anticipate movements. The galaxy is not static. Objects move. You must move with them, not against them. Predict, adjust, survive. Eli's hands moved over the controls, following Kael'thur's instructions. The ship dipped, twisted, and weaved through the belt, dodging massive rocks and smaller debris. He felt the ship vibrate under his touch, each movement precise and controlled. He realized that this was not just about skill. It was about thinking ahead, about understanding the paths of objects and how to react before danger struck. Hours passed as they moved deeper into the belt. The farther they went, the more Eli noticed patterns in the debris. Asteroids rotated around larger rocks in slow arcs, smaller fragments spun in chaotic but predictable ways. His eyes followed them, calculating, anticipating. Slowly, he began to understand the rhythm of the shattered belt. "You are learning fast," Kael'thur said, his voice low but approving. "Few humans could match this speed. Adaptation is your strength. Observation, creativity, courage, you have all three." Eli smiled faintly. "It helps that I've repaired impossible machines before. I'm used to figuring things out under pressure." Kael'thur's gaze softened. "Then you are ready for the next challenge. There is a station in this belt, long abandoned, but it holds technology my people could not access. You will retrieve it. But be warned, other beings are already here seeking the same prize." Eli's heart raced. He had faced raiders before, but this was different. The station could hold anything, traps, hostile life forms, or even dangerous machines. Yet he felt ready. Humans had survived impossible odds on Earth and in space. Why not here? As the Aurora runner approached the station, Eli noticed a faint glow ahead. The station was half destroyed, massive chunks floating around it. It looked abandoned, silent, and dangerous. Kael'thur's voice came over the intercom. "Eli, dock carefully. Every movement matters. One collision and the station could collapse. You must be precise." Eli guided the ship slowly, maneuvering between floating debris. His hands moved quickly but carefully, adjusting thrusters, checking sensors, and calculating angles. Slowly, the ship aligned with the docking bay. A tense moment passed, and then the ship attached securely. Kael'thur's amber eyes glimmered. "Well done." "Few could accomplish this." Eli let out a sigh of relief. "Thanks, but I know the real challenge is still inside." The station's interior was dark and silent. Dust floated in faint beams of light, and broken machinery littered the floor. Eli activated his portable lights and scanned the room. Strange symbols were etched on walls, glowing faintly. He recognized patterns, energy circuits that could still function if repaired. Kael'thur stepped beside him. "This station is more than a relic. It holds information and devices that could change battles in this sector. But beware, others want the same technology, and they are not friendly." Eli nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. He moved carefully, examining control panels and broken conduits. Using his experience as a mechanic, he began reconnecting power sources, aligning circuits, and improvising solutions with what he could find. The work required patience, precision, and creativity. One wrong move could trigger a collapse or worse. Hours passed. Eli worked tirelessly, repairing ancient devices, rerouting energy flows, and activating dormant systems. Kael'thur watched silently, occasionally offering advice. Together, they managed to bring several sections of the station back online. Holographic maps flickered, displays glowed, and energy hummed through conduits. But then came the unexpected. Sensors detected movement outside the station. Raiders, human-like but alien, had arrived, tracking the same technology. Eli could see them through the broken windows, their ship small, fast, and armed. They did not expect anyone to be inside the station. Kael'thur's wings flexed and his voice rumbled. "We are not alone. Prepare yourself, human. They will attempt to enter. You must think fast." Eli's heart pounded. He had never been in combat like this before, but his mind raced. He looked around, noticing gaps in the station's walls, corridors the raiders might use. Using pieces of broken machinery, he began setting traps, wires that could short-circuit, panels that could collapse, and energy conduits that could shock intruders. His hands moved quickly, guided by instinct and experience. The raiders arrived, forcing open doors and moving cautiously. Eli's trap slowed them down, giving Kael'thur room to act. The dragon-like veteran moved with power and precision, blocking corridors, using his massive size and strength to intimidate the attackers. But it was Eli's ingenuity that turned the tide. He rerouted energy to create barriers, activated dormant defense systems, and guided Kael'thar to choke points where the raiders were vulnerable. Together, human cleverness and alien strength worked in perfect harmony. The battle was intense. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and debris tumbled from damaged ceilings. Eli stayed focused, moving with precision, improvising solutions faster than the raiders could react. One by one, they were forced back, retreating into their ships as the station's defenses regained control. When the last raider ship fled, Eli collapsed onto the floor, exhausted but triumphant. Kael'thar stepped beside him, placing a massive hand on his shoulder. "You have done well. Humans are underestimated, yet time and again your courage and creativity prove you can surpass expectations. I am impressed." Eli smiled faintly, brushing soot from his hands. "I just did what I could." "I guess humans can surprise even the strongest beings." Kael'thar's amber eyes glimmered. "Yes, you have learned quickly. You adapt, improvise, and act without hesitation. That is what makes humans remarkable. You are small, yet capable of extraordinary things." Eli looked around the station. Machines hummed, energy flowed through conduits, and systems once thought lost were alive again. He realized that human ingenuity was more than fixing broken parts. It was the ability to see solutions where others saw only limits. Kael'thar studied him for a long moment. "You have proven yourself again, but remember, Eli Carter, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast. There are challenges far greater than this. Humans who are brave, clever, and resourceful will be remembered. Those who act with heart and mind together, they can change the course of worlds." Eli nodded, feeling a sense of pride and purpose. He had started as a simple mechanic, tired and small in a crowded economy seat. Now he was part of something bigger, something extraordinary. His courage, skill, and ingenuity had made a difference in a dangerous place, and he knew the universe held even greater challenges ahead. As the Aurora runner prepared to leave the shattered belt, Eli sat beside Kael'thar, exhausted but exhilarated. Stars stretched past the windows, a silent reminder of the vastness of space. Eli's thoughts were clear. Humans were underestimated, yes, but their creativity, courage, and determination could shine brighter than the most advanced technology. And for the first time, Eli truly believed that the galaxy was full of possibilities, and that humans, even small and simple ones, could rise to meet them. Eli Carter sat in the cockpit of the Aurora runner, staring at the endless stretch of stars ahead. After surviving the shattered belt and helping reclaim the abandoned station, he thought he had seen the worst the galaxy could throw at him. But Kael'thar, the dragon-like veteran, had made it clear that the greatest challenge was yet to come. "Eli," Kael'thar said, his deep voice rumbling through the cabin, "the intelligence I sought in the shattered belt was only a test. Beyond the Vega cluster lies a fleet controlled by a warlord named Tharok. He is ruthless, cunning, and well-armed. He underestimates humans, like most beings, but you will show him why that is a mistake." Eli's heart pounded. Tharok was known across several systems as a destroyer of worlds, a being who left no survivors. Humans had never faced a threat like this on their own. And yet Eli felt a strange calm. He had survived impossible odds before. He had adapted, improvised, and triumphed. Humans were underestimated constantly, but every time they were counted out, they found a way to succeed. "I understand," Eli said. "We'll stop him." Kael'thar's amber eyes softened. "It will not be easy. We will have to act quickly, strike smart, and trust in your creativity. Humans have a way of turning small chances into victories. You will show me that again." The Aurora runner slipped through hyperspace and arrived near Tharok's fleet. Hundreds of ships floated in formation, all armed and ready. The fleet's size was overwhelming, and even Kael'thar looked cautious. Eli swallowed hard but reminded himself of every challenge he had faced. Every impossible repair, every dangerous encounter had prepared him for this. Kael'thar lowered the ship into a narrow asteroid field near the fleet. "We will approach unseen," he explained. "Use the terrain. Think like a human. That is your strength, your unpredictability." Eli nodded. He studied the asteroid formations, searching for patterns and weak points in the fleet's formation. His mind worked quickly, calculating paths, angles, and possibilities. Humans were small, yes, but that made them agile. They could move in ways larger enemies could not anticipate. As they drew closer, sensors detected patrol ships. "They are scanning," Kael'thar said. "You must act fast." Eli's hands moved over the controls, adjusting thrusters, energy flows, and shields. He guided the Aurora runner through a narrow tunnel formed by two massive asteroids. The fleet's sensors barely registered them, confused by the debris and the shadows. Kael'thar's massive wings flexed as he prepared to strike. "You are clever, human. You see what others overlook. That is why I trust you." Eli felt a thrill of pride. He had never been considered extraordinary before. Here, in the midst of a deadly alien fleet, Kael'thar saw him as capable, as clever, and as brave. The first patrol ship passed dangerously close, its sensors scanning. Eli held his breath and adjusted the ship's angle slightly. A massive asteroid blocked the patrol's line of sight just in time. The ship passed without noticing them. Eli exhaled slowly. "That was close," he muttered. Kael'thar chuckled softly. "Humans survive by observing and acting. You are learning fast." As they moved deeper, Eli noticed a central command ship larger than the rest, surrounded by smaller escort ships. This was Tharok's flagship. Taking it down would cripple the fleet, but it was heavily guarded. Eli studied the formation, thinking fast. "If we can lure the escorts away," he said, "we can isolate the flagship, then we have a chance." Kael'thar nodded. "Good, your strategy is sound. Humans turn small openings into victories." Eli guided the Aurora runner toward a cluster of smaller ships. Using the asteroid field for cover, they triggered a minor explosion from one of the rocks, drawing the escort's attention. The ships moved, chasing the disturbance. Eli took advantage of the opening, guiding the Aurora runner directly toward the flagship, its massive hull looming ahead. Inside the control room, Eli saw energy conduits and weapon arrays. He studied them, analyzing weaknesses. He realized that the flagship relied on a complex energy network. If he could disrupt it at the right points, the ship's weapons would shut down temporarily, giving Kael'thar the chance to strike. "Kael'thar," he said, "I can disable their weapons if I reroute the energy through these conduits, but it has to be precise. One mistake and they'll detect us." Kael'thar's amber eyes glimmered. "Do it, human. Your mind is sharper than many I have trained. Trust yourself." Eli's hands moved over the controls. He rerouted power flows, bypassing damaged circuits and redirecting energy with careful timing. Sparks flew, systems hummed, and the flagship's defenses began to flicker. Eli adjusted quickly, improvising as unexpected feedback surged through the conduits. The flagship's weapons went offline for a moment. Kael'thar let out a low roar and leapt into action. His massive claws ripped through one of the ship's escort vessels, while his wings created shockwaves that pushed others away. Eli guided the Aurora runner closer, using the disabled defenses to his advantage. The fleet reacted quickly, but Eli was faster. He adjusted thrusters, dodged incoming fire, and used the asteroid field as cover. Each move was precise, a mix of observation, creativity, and quick thinking. Humans were small, but in this moment, size did not matter. Ingenuity and courage ruled. The flagship's defenses came back online, but Eli was ready. He triggered another reroute, creating a cascade of energy overloads in the ship's systems. Panels sparked, engines faltered, and weapons went silent. The flagship staggered, unable to maintain control. Kael'thar attacked with precision, using his massive strength to disable key sections of the ship. The remaining escorts, seeing their flagship in trouble, hesitated. The humans and aliens watching the battle were stunned. How could such a small ship, guided by a human, turn the tide? Eli realized this was the moment to finish the battle. He guided the Aurora runner into a narrow pass between two asteroids, forcing the flagship to follow. The massive ship became trapped, its movements limited. Using a combination of careful navigation and energy disruptions, Eli caused the flagship's engines to overload. A massive explosion rocked the ship, but Kael'thar ensured the Aurora runner remained safe. The remaining fleet retreated, shaken and disorganized. Eli and Kael'thar floated in space, victorious but exhausted. The battlefield was silent except for the hum of the Aurora runner's systems. Kael'thar turned to Eli, his eyes glowing amber. "Humans, you are remarkable. Your courage, ingenuity, and quick thinking have done what many believed impossible. You have changed the outcome of this battle." Eli shook his head, still catching his breath. "I just did what I could. We worked together, that's what matters." Kael'thar's massive hand rested on Eli's shoulder. It is more than that. Few beings could have done what you did. Your species is underestimated, yes, but you are proof that even the smallest human can accomplish greatness. You inspire me, and soon the galaxy will understand. Eli looked at the stars, feeling a rush of pride and wonder. He had started as a simple mechanic, tired and small on a transport ship. Now he had faced a deadly fleet, outsmarted the strongest warlord in this sector, and survived. He realized something profound. Humans were underestimated because most beings had never seen what humans could do when pushed to their limits. "You've shown me humans are capable of anything," Kael'thar said softly. "Your bravery and creativity saved lives today. Remember this: courage, ingenuity, and heart, these are your strengths." Eli smiled, exhaustion and joy mixing in his expression. "I guess humans really can surprise the galaxy." Kael'thar's eyes glimmered. "Yes, and this is only the beginning. There are worlds to explore, challenges to face, and victories to earn. Humans will be remembered not for their size, but for their spirit. And you, Eli Carter, are a shining example." As the Aurora runner moved away from the battlefield, Eli felt the weight of the moment. He had been small, tired, and ordinary, but through courage, intelligence, and quick thinking, he had proven something extraordinary. Humans were more than underestimated, they were unstoppable when they refused to give up. Kael'thar looked at him, pride in his eyes. "The universe is vast, human, but you have shown that even one small being can leave a mark. You have made a difference today. Never forget it." Eli nodded, watching the stars streak past. For the first time, he understood the true power of being human. It was not strength, size, or weapons. It was creativity, courage, and the refusal to surrender. That was what made humans exceptional, what made them heroes in a galaxy that doubted them at every turn. The adventure had been unimaginable just a few days ago, and yet Eli had risen to every challenge. He knew the galaxy would always test him, but he also knew that humans, with their courage and ingenuity, could face anything. As the Aurora runner sailed into the uncharted stars, Eli Carter sat with Kael'thar, ready for the next journey, ready to prove once again that humans were capable of the impossible. And for the first time, he truly believed that one human, no matter how small or ordinary, could change the course of the galaxy.